What's going on, guys? Welcome to another live stream session with your boy Phrankleen. If you're watching this as a playback, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like what I'm about. Don't forget to look for my playlist for a bunch of my content. All right. So, if this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. Trying to pull up the stream on my mobile phone. Forgive me. Right. Let's get these started. If you can hear me, you can see me. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Okay. First of all, I want to say big thank you to the subscriber, the gentleman that sent me. What's up, Patrick? What's going on, Shah Gabor? The gentleman that sent me this, the link. I've actually been following the story of this particular gentleman who is involved in this story. All right. So I was aware of this a few years ago. So I think it's important that we, House of Coffee, what's up? What's going on, people? So I think it's absolutely crucial for us to look into this, as we might, I believe we will be able to learn one of two things. And one of the reasons why I decided to share this story is it's surprising, particularly by some of our people that live in the West and find themselves working in whatever department. And unfortunately, you find within our community that some of our people are neck deep in ignorance. They are oblivious to what's exactly happening in the wider context of the Western society and how it's really designed. And some of the sad and unfortunate occurrences that some of us within the Black community have had to, go through in terms of unfair treatment, regardless of what department. And as they say, knowledge is power. Some people, they feign ignorance because right now, as we speak, maybe, thankfully, thanks to the universe, you've not found yourself in any sort of problem, or you've not been maliciously targeted or something like that. And the premise of this is not so that you get maliciously targeted. Definitely not. I would never wish that on anyone. But it's so that you get yourself informed. I've seen people that lived in the West, they've kept their head down, they're law-abiding citizens, they've done very well, they just go to their workplaces, they earn their living, jump on the train, jump on the bus, go to their whatever religious gatherings, party back home to their family. And unfortunately, they ended up being maliciously targeted, being framed. Some of them have lived through the system whereby they've had no issues. And then as soon as there's an extension of themselves, what do I mean? As soon as they start having a family now, they start having children, they get into the educational sector, and then, life takes absolute bananas, banana shape, if I may. So, but before we crack on, let me talk very quickly about the sponsor of the show. Adron Homes is basically a reliable real estate company in Nigeria. All right. For those of you, my brothers and sisters that live in the West that are looking to invest, let me pause very quickly. Some of you sent me emails from yesterday because I talked about homes and buying lands and stuff like that. And some of you actually sent me emails. I will definitely reply you tonight. Okay. If you have sent me an email expressing interest, Phrankleen, please send me an application pack about the lands and stuff. Trust me, I will most definitely get back to you tonight. I'm a bit inundated. All right. But if you keep your eye on Adekunle Homes, in a nutshell, is a reputable real estate company with an extensive and verifiable track records. So you have one of two options. You can buy lands from them for investment. You can buy land to build and stuff. So a lot of people buy, to keep. You have your mini portfolio. You can buy in any locations and stuff. You can buy and invest for your own future, for the future of your children, rather than have your money sit in the banks. The banks are already worth billions. All right. So this is my own way of telling you that invest, invest, invest. I cannot stress this enough. So now, what is it that I'm offering you with Adekunle Homes? Forgive me, I was just typing my email address there. For as little as 25,000 naira, the bare minimum, you can basically put deposit down and start paying for your lands in installments, monthly installments, which is quite amazing. So, for example, I'll give you an example on the flyer here. Buckingham Park and Gardens, which is based in Ede, part of Ede in Nigeria, its actual price is at 1 million. 20% discount makes it 800,000. You can spread that over 24 months, 2 years. 30% discount, you get it at 700,000. At a maximum of 40% discount, which you have 12 months to pay off, you can get it for 600,000. And the same type of discount spans across several locations that Adekunle Homes have got estates. They've got estates in Ede, Abuja, Ijebu-Ode, Ibadan, Badagry, Atanta, which is, I believe, in Abeokuta, Kajala, Shagamu, Nasarawa, Oshogbo, Ibejuleki, Abeokuta, Shimawa, and the list goes on. Now, some of the people that have jumped on this already, some people bought their lands outrightly. Some people pay 100,000 naira. Some people paid 500,000, 300,000 as a deposit. And then they process that. And then you start paying your, monthly payment. And you can pay off as soon as you can afford to pay the rest off. Now, let me be clear. You're not giving any amount of your amount out of your monies to Phrankleen directly. You're paying into the business account. I am going to be your agent. You liaise with me, you give me all the necessary documentations. I'll liaise with the relevant departments, make sure you get your documentations, you get it. And if you have any questions, any queries, you come to me directly and I resolve them for you. Does that make sense? And of course, you can speak to the head office of the company if you have any questions that maybe goes beyond myself. Now, that's that. So if you want the application pack, all you've got to do is send me an email to foodchannel 1960 at gmail.com. That's pinned on the screen. Foodchannel 1960 at gmail.com. Just say, Phrankleen, I'm interested in, in the land and stuff. Please send me the application pack and I'll reply you. All right? You understand me? So somebody's saying, who's the CEO of Adekunle Homes? The gaffer. You can send me an email with your questions and I'll respond to you. Okay? This is not the time and place to start unpacking the board of directors of the organization. That would take focus away from the time scale at hand. I hope you understand. Whatever questions you've got, bang me an email, foodchannel1960 at gmail.com, or look in the description below and I'll answer your questions. Does that make sense? Great stuff. So invest not just in yourself. Think about the future, your retirement, and the future of your children. You won't go wrong. All right. Now, let's talk about today's story. Like I said, this was sent to me by, I'm going to have to share the screen because I will be reading this so we can all see together. Let me share the article so we read together. It's, give me a second. Fantastic. All right. So 1 second. So just give me a quick second. Full screen layout. Great stuff. So these brother, he says, man sues police for £1 million after wrongful computer entry leads to 5-year travel ban. He's actually a Nigerian man, an IT professional, has spoken out for the first time. Let me try to see if I can expand this a little bit so you can see the screen properly. Right. Since launching a £1 million lawsuit after a wrongful entry on the police computer. Please pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. It's absolutely important that we pay attention to this. All right. Just give me a second, man. I'm trying to. Right. So, an IT professional has spoken out for the first time since launching a £1 million lawsuit after a wrongful entry in a police computer led to his passport being confiscated for 5 years. Adekunle Femi Adenuga, who was born in the UK, was mistakenly classed as remaining in the hear this was mistakenly classed as remaining in the UK without leave and unable to travel after the Metropolitan Police wrongly recorded him as linked to identity fraud on his database, the Crime Reporting Information System knows as CRIS. The 50-year-old, he's now 50 because he's been fighting this for more than 8 years. The 50-year-old from North London does not have a criminal record, and the police admitted a mistake was made. But the force denies any damage was caused because its database is only accessible internally. However, the Home Office withheld his passport for 5 years, stating that his identity was in doubt. Now, the Home Office, for the benefit of those of you that might not know, the Home Office basically is the immigration, department of the United Kingdom. Now, for the Home Office to have had that information that led to the confiscation of Mr. Femi's British passport, right? They picked up that information, that untrue information, that damaging information from the police database. So let's say they didn't know at first. They were notified, but yet they latched onto a false record in collusion with the police against an innocent man for 5 straight years and absolutely shattered his life. Now, stating that his identity was in doubt, leaving Mr. Adenuga to suspect that information from database was shared with the government. Of course, the chain of events was only uncovered after he enlisted the help of a lawyer and his local MP, something he says points to prejudice. It smacks of racism, he told the Independent being one of the UK newspapers. Pretty much every group of people, every organization I've come into contact with to do with this case has treated me with extreme prejudice. Overt racism is easy. Someone says a slur, but insidious racism is where I've got a record written against me that I'm not even aware of, and even judges, barristers, and lawyers involved can see what's happened. Yet, I'm having to jump through all these hoops just to get them to do the right thing. No one can tell me this country isn't endemically racist. That's how it is in the UK. Now, Mr. Adenuga, who is a financial IT professional and regularly traveled overseas for work, maintains that this experience led to loss of employment and the onset of severe depression. I now know that these resulted in the loss of multiple job opportunities when prospective employers carried out a criminal record check. Previously, I had worked in banks, building societies, and insurance companies, he said. Adding that, he began to be turned down for jobs after the mistake because, of course, the malicious record that was against him would have evidently prevented him from getting jobs. Even a 5-year-old could decipher. Now, these work withered as they, rightly in my view, would not employ anyone with a record, for dishonesty in the financial sector. Of course, that's how it is. They wouldn't touch you with a barge pole. I've been advised that the Met being the Metropolitan Police, were negligent, or it would cost me to prove any loss. The Met disputes this, says it has no record of having ever processed a disclosure or barring check, it's called DBS, for any employer relating to Mr. Adenuga. Mr. Adenuga only became aware of these mistakes when he sent his passport for renewal in 2013, only to have it confiscated by the HM Passport Office, an agency of the Home Office. Mr. Adenuga was asked to supply a list of documents similar to those demanded of Windrush scandal victims, including pictures of his parents' wedding and their marriage certificate. Wow. The passport office refused to accept his driving license, bank details, tenancy contract, and utility bills as proof of identity. So what else could a man put forward? Mr. Adenuga was baffled, but after making a subject access request, he became aware of an apparent conviction registered against his name for deception and remaining in the UK without leave. Remaining in the UK without leave, a British citizen, by the Metropolitan Police. The Home Office and Passport Office both have access to the Police National Computer, PNC. Mr. Adenuga argues that while his passport was confiscated, he was effectively detained in the UK in a breach of his freedom of movement and residence, in breach of Article 13 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Article 12 of the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights. He said he was unable to attend his mother's funeral in Nigeria. That must have been devastating. The hardship created by the hostility I met at the passport office and the false conviction almost resulted in my becoming homeless in 2018, but for the intervention of Shelters, the charity organization, he said. The employment situation meant I was unable to provide for my mother towards the end of her life. Oh man. She passed away during this period, and I was also unable to attend her funeral. I became socially isolated, and the circumstances had an extreme adverse effect on my relationships. Of course, because people will abandon you, man. That's life. That a bunch of people will turn their backs on you at the lowest point of your life. Not because they are responsible. It's just human behavior. It was only after he enlisted the services of barrister Andrew Buchan of Cloisters Chambers that he learned of the reason for the Home Office holding onto his passport. Following Mr. Buchan's intervention and the involvement of local MP David Lammy, his passport was released in 2018. That's Mr. Adenuga, very resilient. Brother, if you get to see my video, I salute your courage, man. I salute your courage. The conviction was mistakenly recorded, yeah, right, on the crease after officers believed someone using his identity committed a crime. Listen to this, using his passport in 2002, right? Now, check this out, yeah? They claimed that officers believed someone used his identity to commit a crime using his passport in 2002. However, the said original crime has not been proven. There's no evidence of same. Do you see what I'm saying? They said it was a case of mistaken identity, right? Using his identity to commit a crime. However, there is no evidence of the said crime. You know, that perhaps would have vindicated the police. Do you see what I'm saying to you? In fact, a trace was run on the UK Visa and Immigration Database, and nothing was found on the suspect, implying he didn't exist, and if he did, not in the context the police allege. There is also no record of the hearing that led to the alleged fraud conviction. Do you see what I'm saying? There is no court records. There is nothing. Man. It is also not understood how a person could be in possession of Mr. Adenuga's genuine passport when it was in his possession at the time. He never reported it lost or stolen, and no reference was made to the alleged fraud when Mr. Adenuga previously submitted his passport for renewal successfully in 2003. Do you see? The alleged crime happened in 2002. You see, they have no record. But when Mr. Adenuga, who was just busy living his own life, renewed his passport in 2003, he had no problems. He got his passport renewed. He carried on with his life as normal. Now, finally, legal precedent denotes that even if the conviction was real, it would not have been enough to revoke a person's passport. Marvelous. Mr. Adenuga added, it's really bleak. I had a future, I had ambitions, I had aspirations. All of that is out of the window. This has ruined my life, and I've been fighting this battle for years, trying to get justice. To wake up in the morning with no set idea of what your tomorrow is going to be, beyond waiting for a benefit check, is hardly an existence. My, my, my. The Metropolitan Police said, we are aware of a claim brought against us. It will be inappropriate for us to comment, of course, cowards, at this stage. An HM Passport Office spokesman said passports can only be issued once we are satisfied the application is genuine and meets the necessary requirements. And that's the end of the story. So, here we are. That's the end of the story. Let me see some of your comments. Let me see some of your comments. You see the news outlet that yeah. Thank you, Mr. Olariwaju O'Brien. I love that man. He was in an open incarceration. I love that statement. And I'm telling you, man, these particularly caught my attention because I have matters that I'm dealing with against the police here in the UK. And it touched me. It's like a crude knife slate. It's absolutely gut-wrenching. Thank you, Frank Goss. You don't have an idea. This is why I actually get infuriated by some of the black people in our community who you think because you are tunnel visioned, you're very limited in your thought process, no disrespect, but you think because maybe you haven't been under this negative spotlight or being maliciously targeted, or you've been okay, living your life, you think that's what it's about. But when you look in the grand scheme of things, this is just one of the numerous malicious means of destroying a lot of black men, people within our community. This is just one of the numerous means. It's not even, let's put the money, he can sue them for 100 million if he wants. I mean, if it's quantifiable and justifiable within the legal remit, whatever, I'm sure that the professionals in that field will be able to negotiate what Mr. Adenuga deserves. But think about it, man. For your life to just get shattered like a candle, like a sand castle, your ambition and everything just get washed away. It's similar to the sort of case that I am dealing with West Yorkshire Police. It's part of the cases that my family's been dealing with for a few years, where the corruption is absolutely jaw-dropping. They create records. I can assure you, I suspect that these emanated from something. Mr. Adenuga, unbeknown to him, and I stand to be corrected, I'm talking hypothetically, there's a possibility whereby he's had interaction with somebody somewhere that doesn't like him, that got the police on his tail, and they conspired. They got a corrupt person within the system, conspired to destroy him. So what did they do? They went into the police database. They generated malicious record against him. And this is the work of these so-called organized criminals that go after innocent people. It's the same thing. As I am sat here, my local MP in Leeds is called Fabian Hamilton. The Owodia family cases has been in courts against the Ministry of Justice since 2017. And We have so much evidences against Leeds City Council, West Yorkshire Police, the NHS in Leeds, because of all the things they did against my children. I am the warrior. My wife, Victoria, has been by me. So, because I dare, as a black man, to stand up to unfairness, to stand up to frauds, there isn't nothing that these people haven't tried. Generating false records against our names, unlawful access into bank accounts, credit card statements, name it. My life has been infiltrated to try to break my spirit, break my family. They've done all sorts of criminality. And the cover up runs. Even the Attorney General's office is involved in the frauds. There's a reason, right? This is not so that you feel sorry for me. It's my cross to bear, it's my family's battle. But hopefully somebody can learn so you can fine tune and recalibrate your mindset about life in the West. Some of you black folks, your ignorance is absolutely staggering, because I dare to stand up against these people. I've said it a few times, so some of you know already. You know what they did? They went and generated, right, firearm records against me. Do you know why they would do that? I don't have a criminal record. I've never been arrested, never been to jail, never had cuffs in my hand. I'm not part of a gang. I'm a law-abiding citizen. It's called racial hatred and discrimination. It's intentional. You understand me? Just like this man, Mr. Adenuga, subject access request gave him an insight into the scale of the frauds against him. I found out via subject access request. My wife, Victoria, was at home with me the day we found out that they put a firearm marker against me. And I went to the office of the crime commissioner of the whole of West. I have written evidences with his signature signed in ink, in blue ink. I have it in my archives. He confirmed that I was maliciously labeled by the police. Did you hear what I said? If the universe wasn't on my side, for me, and if I wasn't proactive, I probably would be dead today. That's what they wanted to achieve. Because remember, I said to you, we have major court cases against them. You understand me? The useless Nigerian lawyers that we went in front of them, they know the truth. This is what I'm trying to tell you, man. I hope and I pray that this man gets justice. Useless Nigerian lawyers. Myself and my wife sat in front of them. Useless. They've got their faces planted right in the rectum of the oppressors. You understand me? They sold us out. They have nothing to do to fight your corner. So just myself and Victoria have been facing this. I'm the guy in the front end. They came after me. Like I say, listen to this. There's a difference between you committed a crime, you were busted, doing illegality, right? Even the Attorney General's office here in the UK is involved in the cover-up of the frauds. The only reason I'm telling you this, it's absolutely possible for you to live in the West. Maybe the way the universe wants it, you might not have any brush with the law or anything, right? It could be your children get maliciously targeted by some evil class teacher, or they're navigating through life. They are teenagers now. They're still young, still desperately got their mother's breast, milk wet on their lips, and then they don't understand life yet. Your tall teenage son is on the train. They're trying to harass him, and it's just like, yo, why are you pushing me? What is it? And they try to maliciously target him, and they can destroy his life, and all your hard work can disappear in a flash. You understand me? This is why when you see me, I do my streams, I try to tell people, man, you got to be barking mad as a black person to think the West is designed to accommodate us. Definitely not. You understand me? My local MP knows about this. He ran because he conspired. He abandoned the case. He stopped responding. He knows everything about the matters. The matters have been in court since 2017. Phrankleen Awodia and family versus the Ministry of Justice. They dare not give us a hearing date because you know why? There is no barrister in this country that can defend the Ministry of Justice in an open court. I will run them to the ground because we have boxes filled, the cloud filled with jaw-dropping evidences that will send state lawyers and people within the local authority to prison. So they looked at us as you're self-represented and they think they can bully you, all right? They'll destroy your lives. I'm telling you, man, there are so many black women and black men in prison who are victims of framing fraud. They were innocent people that were framed. Look at this brother. They destroyed his life. They sabotaged his ambition. They ruined his career, his finance. They limited him, reduced him to nothing, to pittance, dependent on handouts from the state. That in itself, yeah, is enough to kill a man. Depression, health problems. Some people might get suicidal. He can take his own life. Do you know what it means to be fighting for 8 years? And those evil police officers, some of them would have been promoted. They become sergeants or they've moved up in ranks. It's what they do. Wake up. Somebody told me something. Somebody told me something about a couple where on a fateful day, dad goes to school, picks his daughter from school, after school, 3 o'clock, you parents know. And my son was arrested for assaulting a police officer, but he denied it. The police refused to produce the body cam until another judge demanded the body cam be provided. They threw the case and compensated my son. Fantastic. Fantastic. Well done, David. Fantastic. Now, check this out. Check this out. It's a Ghanaian family, right? Dad went to school to pick up his daughter, I believe. Picked the daughter up, put her in the car at 3 o'clock, as you do, drove home. He got home, he found letters on the, by the door, just normal postal deliveries for the day. The letter came in from the department, from maybe the health within the NHS or some health sector, right? He didn't know this letter came in the post. Anyway, that letter exposed the fact that the head teacher of that school had forged a document using the name and a bogus signature that had nothing to do with this gentleman. So on seeing a copy of that document, he waited for his wife to come back from work, showed her like, what the hell is this? I didn't sign this, blah, 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 blah. What'd they do? He lost his cool, very rightly so. And he went back to the school the following day, took it up with the head teacher and whatnot and said, how did you manage to get my signature? Where did this come from? This is a fraudulent document. I've never seen this. I didn't sign this. I'm not aware. My wife is not aware. How come it came from this department? Blah, 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 blah. The back and forth started. Now, whilst the man was raging, I think somebody in his local church advised him that, oh, this appears like a criminal offense. To cover yourself and protect your family, go to the nearby police station, go and lodge a complaint with them. so you can get a crime reference. At least it's on record that you've reported it. Now, whether they investigate it or not, because they usually cover up for themselves, whether they investigate it or not is a totally different conversation, but go and report it. So the man listened. He went to the local police station. He met a police officer after waiting about 30 to 40 minutes. And then he narrated the story and said, it would appear that the head teacher has forged a document that has nothing, first of all, not my handwriting, not my signature and stuff. It's got my name and my wife's name, da 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 da. This is criminal record, criminal action, blah 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 blah. So the officer took all the details and said, all right, okay. I will we'll investigate, we'll get back to you. So the gentleman insisted and said, no, I would like a crime reference, for everything that I've spoken to you about. Very rightly so. So the police officer was at first, reluctant, and then he disappeared. He said, all right, okay, I'll be back. He disappeared. He went inside. But guess what? What was fascinating about the whole conversation was the man had his Samsung phone on record all the while. He had his phone on record. Clever. So the whole conversation, everything that he discussed with the police officer in the interview room, he had it recorded on his smartphone. The police officer didn't know this. So he disappeared inside. He came back later on, gave this gentleman a reference number on a post-it note paper. He puts his name and he said, that's the reference number. If you feel, if you want to get in touch with us, just quote that reference number, blah, 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 XYZ. The brother disappears. If you were in the man's shoes, what would you think the reference number represents? It represents everything that I've just filed with the police officer, right? Guess what? There's already, whilst the police officer disappeared inside, he must have made a few phone calls, connected with the head teacher and everyone quick, faster than the speed of light. Guess what? The police officer carried out a jaw-dropping misrepresentation fraud. Do you know what he did? He carried out misrepresentation fraud and defamation fraud. What do I mean by that? So whilst he was inside for like 30, 40 to 50 minutes, keeping that man waiting, he generated this fraudulent crime reference. And the notes underneath this crime reference was that this man, of his own volition, came to the police station to self-report himself and his wife, that both of them were struggling mentally. They couldn't cope with parenting their kids, and this aligns with the concerns from the school. So the state should find what to do about their children, because both he himself and his wife can no longer cope. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Since when have you heard or seen any parent march into a police station, I go and report myself and my wife to the police officer and say, to any police station and say, oh, myself and my wife are both tired or unable to parent our children, would like the state to take over? So they generated these fraudulent reports. It's an ultimate discredit and defamation fraud against this man. Now, normally, this is meant to come out as a witness statement to get you to have a look and say, okay, this is all that you've told us. Read and get you to sign. They will have this on tape. They will have this on camera. So should you come back tomorrow and turn yap, the police will go guns blazing and pull out the records. And they will absolutely smash you to smithereens. But because this is fraud, You understand? And the average person, 9 out of 10 times or 8 out of 10 times, the average person do not understand the technicalities of navigating through the police system. You know why? Because you're normally used to your everyday life until something redirects you, changes your pathway, and then you find yourself dealing with the police and lawyers and the courts. So they catch you off guard. If there is something that I would tell you for free today, take it from me. I'm telling you for free. I'm not charging you. Don't ever forget. If you forget everything about Phrankleen, that's great. If you are living in the West and you're dealing with the government departments, arms of the government, your local authority, the police, anything sensitive around your children and maybe even yourself, if you have one of these, this could potentially save your life. Go into the voice recording app, record it, save it, not just on your phone. No, the phone can get stolen off you. They can get destroyed. Save it in Google Drive, save it into the clouds, name and date it, save it, send it to other people as a backup. It will save your life down the line somewhere. Trust me, take it from me. Forget that nonsense about, oh, you've got to seek my consent. Not when you're dealing with criminals. Don't seek anybody's consent. If you have a lot of money in the bank, you're going into your bank and the bank is trying to label you as being fraudulent or into money laundering. They're trying to do something unscrupulous. Bring down your temper. Right under the table, put these on record. Get the name of the person you're talking to. Get their email addresses. Make sure there's a trail. That's how you catch them by the jugular. Destroyed his life. Couldn't work again. Livelihood gone out of the window. You don't have an idea. Oh, you don't go on if I says you. Or why you, Nikael? Or why Gbinipa, Nikael? Or why Geni let me kuru Nikawa? Konikami, Konikawa Mo, Konikawa Ko, Konikaya. Or why I should be Konikael? I'm telling you for free, man. You and this I want back Costco down. Maybe minerals náà ni mo díẹ̀ náà ni mo rà ń bẹ̀, minerals náà ni mo ní lọ rà ní Costco, kékeré náà ni mo rà ń bẹ̀ yín kó sínú ọkọ̀ náà lọ́ra gabu mi lọ́la mi mọ́lẹ̀. Hey man, it happens, man. You know what I'm saying? Ashoi no longer laughs when he hears about the black struggle. What? Thank you for the super chat, man. Thank you for listening to me. Yeah, that's me done. Most definitely catch you in the very next one. Thank you for all the moderators, House of Coffee, and everybody. Yeah. Is it Ken or Kevin or what's that guy's name? I'm still waiting for you to come. Feel free to send me an email, foodchannel1960. Maybe I can have a special show with you, man. Come and talk, come and defend your colleagues. Come and prove me wrong, and I'll tell you proper about my experiences and the experiences of so many people within the black community. And I'm sure these frauds, they go even beyond the black community. All right? I'll catch you in the very next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.